Secretary of War Pete Hegseth blasting our European allies, accusing them of refusing to step up as the United States moves to secure the Strait of Hormuz, warning the days of free riding are over.
It's also worth saying this should not be America's fight alone. Europe and Asia have benefited from our protection for decades, but the time for free riding is over. America and the free world deserve allies who are capable, who are loyal, and who understand that being an ally is not a one-way street. It's a two-way street. We are not counting on Europe, but they need the Strait of Hormuz much more than we do, and might want to start doing less talking and having less fancy conferences in Europe and get in a boat.
Get in the boat. Deputy U.S. Representative to the United Nations, Tammy Bruce, joins me now. Tammy, great to have you with us. You know, the meeting that he just refers to over in Europe, having conferences in Europe, this is a statement that came out of that meeting with the UK and France. The work is part of UK and France leadership for a multinational coalition to reopen the strait, which sounds kind of like they're going to get involved and try to get it open. But the words are very important here. The sessions will advance military plans to reopen the strait. But here's the operative phrase: as soon as conditions permit, following a sustainable ceasefire agreement. So we're happy to show up and help with a military plan, but only after things are totally calm.
Well, you know, when the chips are down, you find out what you're made of. You find out what other people are made of. And I think the president has said repeatedly, but it's a very strong statement, that of course he can do this by himself, but he shouldn't have to. That's the difference, is that he recognizes this, and this is why he wants the UN to succeed. He believes in people working together, in countries working together as a team. We have been doing it alone, and the president cares about that. He does it because it matters for the United States and our own security. But the fact is that we all have to deal with this. And he's been saying that from the moment he stepped into the Oval Office in the first term, telling NATO, you've got to have more defense spending. You've got to be able to contribute to NATO more, because otherwise Russia's going to eat your lunch. It's obvious, but we have carried the ball for a long time, and now it's recognized economically and otherwise that all of us have to do this together. President Trump is showing them how to do it, and most importantly, that it can be done. So you've got things that have not happened forever because people haven't either wanted the status quo to change or felt it couldn't be done. This is President Trump's leadership. He's showing them it can be done, and he shouldn't have to do it alone. We benefit from the Middle East being more at peace. The Gulf countries are coming together and are operating in a unified way. Europe can contribute and make a serious contribution to world peace and to the future if they recognize that they need to step up.
But they're sitting on their hands. I mean, they don't seem to want to get involved. And there's also discussion and some reporting that maybe the dynamic with Spain will change, that maybe we should not maybe they shouldn't be part of NATO anymore. Maybe we shouldn't support a NATO that includes countries that are not supportive. Is that a real possibility?
Well, you know, I won't speculate, even on hypothetical, certainly. But what we do know is that when you've got a force that comes together to be a deterrent, everyone must work together, that it is a partnership. The president has shown people what partnerships can look like, along with our allies who have been helping us with the Hormuz Strait, with Iran, with the Gaza Strip, the Board of Peace, the countries that have signed on to that as they link arms with us, because it means the world is safer, so everyone's nations are safer, and that the United States can lead the way. But we shouldn't have to do it all on our own, it's not just for ourselves. As the Secretary of War noted, that this is about the rest of the world also needs this to happen. And I think perhaps it's a matter of that it is happening, and now they have an opportunity to step up, and they should take the president's lead in that regard.
This is Keir Starmer on Thursday. Watch.
I'm here to serve the British people, always to have their interests and to make sure that I make the right decisions for them. That is why I took the decision that we would not be dragged into the war in Iran. That is why I took the decision we wouldn't be dragged into the blockade of the Strait. That is in our best national interest.
Yeah. He's in a bind, I guess. But yeah, I mean, somewhere Winston Churchill's rolling over in his grave.
Yeah, his numbers, when it comes to doing things for the people of his nation. It's a sovereign nation, but the people of his country are also not happy. His approval numbers are not good at all. It's a statement that, you know, no matter where you live and who you are, you want to be secure. You want your leadership to make sure that you can count on tomorrow, that you know what the future will look like. For the first time, the world is seeing that, yes, we've been held hostage, the world has, for 47 years with Iran, that everyone's just kind of tapped it along. President Trump said, enough is enough. We all deserve better. And this is, I think, the American people certainly understand that, but people in England and every European country around the world in Asia say it can be better and it should be.
Well, all these leaders gave lots of lip service to the idea that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, but they apparently don't want to actually take the action to make that happen, and they don't even want to support another country, namely the United States, that is taking action on it. So, yeah, you're right. It cuts the wheat from the chaff, as they say, and we'll see who's standing in the end.
And the president is persuasive, and so is success, and that's why this is all important.
Tammy, thank you very much. Tammy Bruce, great to see you.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.